Hello, I'm Terry Cross with a review of Generational Perspective of Higher Education Online Student Learning Styles from the Journal of Education and Learning in 2014. A study was conducted of students participating in online academic courses in institutions of higher education to ascertain if there was a generational influence on learning styles. The specific research question was, what, if any, relationships exist among learning styles, generational groups, and satisfaction with online learning? Inferential and descriptive statistics were used to determine there was a statistically significant difference between baby boomers and the millennial generation, as well as Generation X. Baby boomers were found to have significantly lower scores on this subscale as compared with both the millennial generation and Generation X. In addition, the millennial generation reported lower scores on overall satisfaction survey components as compared with both Generation Xers and baby boomers. In review of the evolution of online enrollment, online education within institutions of higher education is experiencing a rapid and accelerating growth. The student populations associated with online education as a whole are becoming more diverse in age, educational background, and cultural traits. Each of these generational groups of students brings individual learning styles. Learning styles can be described as a description of the attitudes and behaviors which determine an individual's preferred way of learning. Two commonly used learning style inventories that determine student learning styles in relationship to online education are the Kolb Learning Style Inventory and the Felder-Solomon Index of Learning Styles, ILS, which is used in this study. Both are used to determine population distributions of student learning styles associated with student learning dispositions. A concern raised in this study is how well higher education can keep up with the rapid increase in technology. Within the literature, there is strongly documented research on the rapid increase in technology and its corresponding impact within business and the workplace. However, the influx of technology into higher education has been less documented, leaving many higher education administrators and faculty to reconsider the traditional role of higher education and implementation of technology on the instruction of their student population. Distance education is defined by the United States Distance Learning Association as the acquisition of knowledge and skills through mediated information and instruction encompassing all technologies and other forms of learning at a distance. With rapid technological advancements come changes in demographics and economic pressures that challenge higher education to redefine itself. According to Wiles and Lunt, education can either take the road of working in a system that is afraid of change, or it can embrace change that is naturally frightening and further integrate technology into education. Another concern of this article is teachers effectively reaching a diverse student body through online courses. This study proposes that to design online courses that will meet the varied needs of a range of students, consideration must be given to generational theory. The concept of generational theory is that each generation is shaped by its own social environment. This social environment is a collection of social events experienced by individuals who share common birth years. From commonly held beliefs and behaviors, the personality and description of that generational group is formed. So this study makes use of the categorical groupings to make useful comparisons for characterizing behaviors. According to Strauss and Howe, the living generational cohorts include the GI generation, the silent generation, baby boomer generation born 1943 to 1960, Generation X born between 1961 and 1981, and the millennial generation born between 1982 and 2001. In review of this study's research method, the following research question is asked. What, if any, relationships exist among learning styles, generational groups, and satisfaction with online learning? This correlational research study sought to determine to what degree a relationship exists between two or more variables, yet it does not seek to define the causal factors. A correlation design was selected for this study in order to quantify a relationship between learning styles and that of generational age cohorts found within higher education distance education courses. The learning styles associated with the individuals found in each of the three age cohort generational groups was assessed using Felder and Solomon's Index of Learning Style (ILS) instrument. The independent variables include each respondent's reported generational demographics. These groups consist of students from the baby boomers, Generation X, and the millennial generation. Additionally, independent variables associated with student learning styles were identified through the use of the Felder and Solomon Index of Learning Style instrument originally developed by Felder and Silverman in 1988. The independent variables identified in this research include the four learning styles as described in the ILS: active and reflective, sensing and intuitive, visual and verbal, and the sequential and global dimensions. Dependent variables identified within the study include student satisfaction scores reported through the use of the Distance Education Learning Environment Survey (DELIS) instrument. The satisfaction scores were measured and identified for each respondent by taking the mean of the 8 items found on the DELIS instrument. Student satisfaction as reported through the use of the survey instrument was the dependent variable of this study. Data was analyzed using the descriptive statistics chi-square analysis and the analysis of variance ANOVA. Frequency tables were constructed for categorical variables of interest. The data provided in Table 1 focuses upon respondent gender. As shown, slightly over 75% of the 1,426 respondents in the sample were female, with slightly under 25% being male. Students under the age of 18 were directed to the end of the survey. Other demographic characteristics of the population consisted of generational birth year grouping, number of online education classes taken, ethnicity, level of educational study, and reported overall grade point average. Table 6 shows the 4 examined domains of the Index of Learning Styles as broken down amongst the baby boomers, Generation Xers, and the millennials. The results of the study indicated a relationship between generational groups with a difference between groups towards the visual verbal learning style indicator. Statistically significant differences were found between baby boomers and the millennial generation, as well as Generation X. Baby boomers were found to have significantly lower scores on this subscale as compared with both the millennial generation and Generation X. In view of the current status of the generational differences and learning satisfaction research, this study found that there were significant mean difference score comparisons among the millennial generation, Generation X, and baby boomers. Specifically, the millennial generation reported lower scores on overall satisfaction survey components as compared with both Generation Xers and baby boomers. Further, when evaluating the generational groups based on the predictors of student autonomy and interaction, these two predictors were found to have a statistically significant positive impact on student satisfaction. Findings indicate that the student autonomy and interaction was found to be most important among baby boomers and had approximately half the impact among Generation X and millennial respondents. In the visual verbal learning style preference, the baby boomer population was more heavily tilted toward verbal preference. This study calls attention to the importance of institutions of higher learning putting the effort into designing online courses, keeping student satisfaction in mind, and remaining aware of the consequences should they fail to do so. University systems must continue to reevaluate delivery and instructional methodologies. If university systems are not preparing, they will give way to institutions with more innovative educational models. Another recommendation is for future research instructor training in the relationship to teaching an online course. Results of this study indicate that instructor support had a statistically significant positive impact upon student satisfaction. As online learning continues to progress, instructors will most likely be held to a higher standard of excellence, driving increased demand for tech-savvy instructors.